From the top to the bottom,
bottom to top I stop.
At the core I forgot,
in the middle of my thoughts.
taking far from my safety.
The picture's there,
The memory won't escape me.
but why should I care?
From the top to the bottom,
bottom to top I stop.
at the core I forgot,
in the middle of my thoughts.
taking far from my safety.
The picture's there,
The memory won't escape me.
but why should I care? There's a place so dark you can't see the end. Skies cocked back, shotgun which can't defend. The rain then sends dripping, acidic questions forcefully. The power of suggestion. Then with the eyes shut, looking through the rust and rotten dust, a small spot of light floods the floor and pours over the rusted world of pretend. And the eyes ease open and it's dark again.
From the top to the bottom,
Bottom to top I stop.
at the core I forgot,
in the middle of my thoughts.
taking far from my safety.
The picture's there,
The memory won't escape me.
but why should I care?
In the memory you'll find me as burning up. The darkness holding me tightly until the sun rises up.
Moving all around, screaming of the ups and downs. Pollution manifested in perpetual sound. The wheels go round, and the sunset creeps behind street lamps. Chain link and concrete, a little piece of paper with a picture drawn. Floats on down the street till the wind is gone. And the memory now is like the picture was then. When the paper's crumpled up, it can't be perfect again.
From the top to the bottom,
Bottom to top I stop.
at the core I forgot,
in the middle of my thoughts.
taking far from my
The
safety.
picture's there,
The memory won't escape
but
me.
why should I care?
From the top to the bottom,
Bottom to top I stop.
at the core I forgot,
in the middle of my thoughts.
taking far from my safety.
The picture's there,
The memory won't escape me.
but why should I care?
In the memory you'll find me as burning up. The darkness holding me tightly until the sun rises up.
Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you. Now you got me caught in the act, you bring the thought back. Telling you that I see it right through you.
In the memory you'll find me as burning up. The darkness holding me tightly until the sun rises up. In the memory you will find me as burning up. The darkness holding me tightly until the sun rises up.
It doesn't.
Hold on to your butts.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
I got up this morning, put on my shoes, tied my shoes, went to the mirror, wanna comb my hair. I made a move, know what to do. Try to break and run.
Oh, here it is. It's Thursday.
Yeah, it's the
Welcome.
anniversary of Chris Cornell. He was born today.
Oh man, what a bummer! Fucking, just finding that out today that Chester Bennington killed himself.
Yeah, actually, I thought
Yeah.
maybe it might have been a hoax for a while because I got a push notification from TMZ on my phone, and then from like the next 30 or so minutes, like nobody was reporting it, and like people who did were just sourcing the TMZ article. So I was kind of hoping it was
Yeah.
just like TMZ like screwed up.
TMZ
Yeah,
is pretty reliable about that stuff.
I know, it just sucks because I didn't want it to happen. Like I really liked Linkin Park. I even liked their latest album, which people didn't seem to care for. But
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm the biggest Linkin Park fan. Like, as a kid, Hybrid Theory was definitely like one of those quintessential albums, for like my era, that age group. I mean, it was when it came out, I listened to it on repeat so many, probably like 1,000 times, just over and over and over again.
I know when I was in school, Linkin Park was like a lot of my classmates' musical awakening as far as rock and roll goes.
It definitely wasn't my musical awakening. I remember I was on a like some sort of a trip to a 4-H function, and there was one of the girls that was on my 4-H team. She was talking. She was like, "Have you ever heard of Linkin Park?" And I didn't. I had never heard of them before. And she was talking about it. And at the time, I was like, this probably sucks. Like, I was really listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin. I wasn't really listening to anything new. AC/DC, Metallica, just like a lot of the older stuff. And I remember she showed me like the album. She had the album with her. She showed it to me. And I thought, this looks like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I was like, what a stupid name. I told her that. I said, that's the dumbest name for a band I've ever heard. And the fact that they spelled it like this is stupid.
Wasn't it named after an actual park, though?
Yeah, sure. But then, I remember hearing one of the songs on the radio, and then I think I got like a burned copy of the disc. And then I ended up rushing out to buy it. I loved it. And Chester Bennington, man, like the ability that he had to have such like insanely clean vocals, like it was so clean and high. Like he could sing really high and had just a really solid voice. But then that fucking scream that he had was like one of the best traits about him as a singer, I felt. And just to go back and forth, I love the Chester Bennington scream.
Did you find it ironic that you were making fun of the way they spelled it as you're listening to Led Zeppelin?
No,
he didn't understand that.
Not
that
that-
irony. He was just
Comparable
his
at all.
typical teenage angst was just like, oh, I gotta shit on this somehow because it's popular.
Yeah, it definitely. I'm sure that a lot of that, played in. I just didn't really care because I didn't know what it was, and delightfully surprised, and I loved Hybrid Theory. Their second album, Meteora or whatever,
Meteora, I love that one.
Yeah, it was a good album. I stopped really caring about them, and then after that, I never really. I think after that, I bought that album and never purchased another Linkin Park album or never followed their career. I did go see Linkin Park in concert with Hoobastank. Hoobastank opened for Linkin Park, which was a really cool show. It was an arena show, but that was like in between. That was in between Hybrid Theory and Meteora. Like I think Reanimation had come out or something like that.
I kind of lost track of them after Minutes to Midnight because I'm actually on their Wikipedia page now, and I didn't even know about 1,000 Suns. Yeah, I had like no idea. I can't even tell you a song off of it.
I mean, their popularity definitely dipped after a few years, but they were still always.
They had the
it
Transformers song on that one.
Do you think that like people, like how we found bands that obviously like our parents and stuff grew up with, like AC/DC, is that like Hybrid Theory? Are kids these days gonna like stumble upon Hybrid Theory? I mean, obviously it's a huge album. It's one of the biggest, most popular rock albums, I would say, of all time.
I would think so because I know when I was growing up, my dad was really into like all that 70s rock stuff, and we knew a lot about it. And I feel like kids, if people our age are having kids, like all that stuff that was popular in the late 90s and early 2000s is going to be
I've actually
classic
wondered that.
rock to them.
Like I don't know if it will become classic because that era definitely it didn't have the iconic impact that previous eras did.
Well, there's a lot more to listen to in that time frame.
That time frame was like a low point in the popularity of rock.
Well, yeah, I just mean, like, what do you think? Like, kids are going to start listening to pop punk or rap?
I think, like, Eminem songs from that time period would be
like,
more classic than, like, Linkin Park.
Is there such thing as, like, classic pop? Is that a genre? Or would it just be, like, 90s pop?
No, that's, like, called classic hits.
Oh.
Yeah. I see. The thing is with Linkin Park and especially Hybrid Theory and even their stuff after that is they did such a good job at bordering pop and rock. I mean, in the end, it was at the top of pop charts.
Yeah.
It was huge. That was a massive song. So I think it's definitely easier for Linkin Park to be on that same list as like Eminem, just because they were able to kind of dance in both worlds. They weren't just a rock band.
Yeah,
but
they also touched into rap a little bit, and they sort of fused the two together.
Like rap rock or something. This again with Hybrid Theory, it was really heavy too. Like it was a pretty heavy record. You weren't in the day called a pussy for listening to it.
Did they still do the rap stuff on the newer albums?
The newer stuff is like
Less
One
of
Republic.
that,
It's
yeah.
like super pop. I mean, I was reading some articles today with Chester, and they were getting a lot of flack for this. And we even talked about it here. This new album, we played a couple songs off of it, and I remember thinking, "Wow, this doesn't sound like this so vastly different.
It's unrecognizable."
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to listen to that and say that they were the same band. And Chester was saying, get the fuck out of Hybrid Theory. Like, stop thinking about that time. This is a different time. And why?
I was just playing. This is what we played a little bit of this.
Yeah, I know we did. Don't know why. Turn it off.
You didn't like it? Is this
Please.
poppy? I didn't think that was
Please?
poppy.
That's okay. Why are you
What?
playing the character?
I'm not. I really actually enjoyed this.
But why would you say I didn't think this was poppy?
Because pop today is country and rap. Like, this isn't anything like
What?
that. That is. If you go listen to Top 40, it's a lot of rap and a lot of country.
What?
Yeah.
How would you say that what we just heard is not poppy?
It's yesterday's pop, if anything. It's not like
It is
the
not
pop
yesterday.
of today.
It is more today's pop than anything.
Something wild, venomous. Hope you have fun.
Oh, so they do have the
All
rap
right.
stuff in there still.
They have a little bit, yeah.
Turn it off. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say. That's not true.
You are not an expert, so.
Yeah. I again, like, he was really upset that people I don't think enjoyed this new album, and they were, I was kind of under the impression of it was so different that at that point, why wouldn't you just call yourself a different band?
I don't think so.
Well, I think, dude, that's nothing. That's just not the same. It's not even the same style in any capacity.
Yeah, but like,
of what
you're expecting them to be the same band they were, 10 years ago plus, and
No,
that's just
I'm
not the
all
way.
for-
That's not the way a lot of bands operate. They all evolve.
Dude,
over time.
I get that. I get the evolution of bands over time, and that makes sense. And I have never had an issue, and I never would have an issue with a band evolving the way
by your
to
logic-
an extent.
By your logic, anybody who evolves as a band should rename themselves and not be the old band. That's what you
that's
just
not what
said.
I said at all.
You
That's
said
not what I
this
said.
is so different that they might as well have named themselves a
Yes.
different band.
Exactly. Like, it's so different.
It's not that different.
We just had a conversation about how it was unrecognizable that the bands were two totally different bands, and now you're saying
They're not
that
two
it's not
totally
that
different. That's not what I said. That's what you said, and I said it's not. 'cause
You
it still has-
agreed!
no, I didn't. It still has
You
the same
agreed!
elements of Linkin Park.
Adam, I don't know if you want to chime in here or
I don't know why it's such an argument. I mean, just because they evolved doesn't mean you have to like what they evolve into.
Yeah, I'm
Again,
just saying they shouldn't be a different band name because of that.
I get that, but it's so different. Like, imagine if AC/DC, with their classic sound, all of the sudden AC/DC stopped writing music like that and started writing like
Michael Jackson songs.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you would think, oh wow, that's not even an evolution. That's like a weird. Somebody threw a vat of radioactive material on them and they mutated.
I don't agree at all.
Yeah, it's just so alarming and jarring how different it is.
It is different, and it's, again, I understand evolution. Evolution is like, all right, well, we write this, or maybe we get a little softer. Or the way that we write things isn't, it's not quite the same, but this is still what we're doing, and it was so different that what they're doing now compared to everything they've done before is incredibly different. Which is where I would say, like, all right, well, it's a different band. It's not the same band.
I'd use the example like Jefferson Airplane. They evolved so much they changed to Jefferson Starship and then Starship.
Right. Exactly.
Even though like later Jefferson Starship songs like still had some of the old rock and roll influence. They were so different. And band members changed and stuff, but
yeah, I'm bummed. It sucks. Fucking Chester Bennington was a great vocalist. They say that struggling with a lot of drugs and alcohol. Yeah, Dave says, and then to Cobra Starship. Drugs and alcohol. He said that he thought about suicide before because of an abusive parent or something in his household. Obviously he struggled with a lot of shit.
I didn't know he had
6 kids.
I was just gonna say that. I didn't know he had that many.
6 kids. That's
with 2 wives.
That's a lot of kids.
That's a Catholic family right there.
Was he Catholic?
Dumping a lot of sperm.
No, I don't know. He might have been.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a bummer. I mean, fuck.
I kind of felt conflicted because of that. I was like, on the one hand, I feel bad. I don't know what he was going through, what problems he had. But on the other hand, to like leave 6 kids behind, like he knows they'll probably go through the same issues, like knowing their father committed suicide.
Yeah, I always feel like when you're in that kind of situation, it's so selfish to.
Well, I mean, it's definitely
suicide.
selfish,
Yeah.
but there's something bigger there than just being
Well,
selfish.
obviously he was mentally ill and nobody caught on to it. Or maybe he was on medication for it, I don't know. But, like, obviously there was a lapse in judgment right there.
Clearly he couldn't have been in his right mind, but...
Yeah. When people, the way that they kill themselves, like that, to hang yourself or to strangle yourself...
Don't know why they would pick that.
That seems like
so
such
miserable.
A terrible
you suffer
way
for
to go.
Like at least a minute, and then even when your neck snaps, you're still conscious for 10 to 15 seconds.
In a lot of the way these guys do it, it's not even where your neck snaps. Like, you just literally strangle. Yeah, it just seems like such an odd...
It's such a painful way to die, too. If you strangle yourself and you're not... Like, your neck doesn't snap, your lungs are just, like, on fire. Like, it's... I don't know.
Have you ever strangled yourself?
No, but like you can read the descriptions of people that have strangled themselves or have been like almost died because of it, like they almost drowned or something, like.
God, I wish you're doing research to apply to yourself.
See, now when I kill myself, you're going to be like, they're going to look straight at you.
I mean, pills or anything really that's just... Like, I would be afraid to shoot myself because you hear so many terrible stories about the bullet like ricocheting around their skull, and
because they don't aim it in the right spot, like they aim it in the back of their mouth, instead of like up into their brain.
That's just because the nerves and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I don't know the best way to go. Like, I really, what is the best way?
I would say the
commit
best
suicide?
Way to go would be to like almost like an overdose, where you fall asleep and you don't wake up.
Especially
not
if he
painful,
was, if he had like drug problems already, you think you just take too much.
Yeah, like you take too much heroin, and you just don't wake up from it or something.
Isn't like running your car in the garage? Isn't that kind of painless too?
The carbon monoxide.
Yeah,
you kind of just fall asleep. Yeah,
doesn't sound like a bad way.
But I mean, you'd cough a little bit. You know what's happening as you're falling asleep.
But it's not like drowning or strangulation.
Well, yeah, because the oxygen slowly deprives from you, and as you're falling asleep, you pass out from it.
I'm talking about neck snap. That's like lynching. That's like tying
that's
it
what
around your
happens
neck and
when
jumping
you-
off a...
Yeah, that's what happens if you do it that way. But a lot of times they'll like tie a belt around their neck and like hang from a doorknob, you know, like where it's not high.
Yeah, they just slouch and
Yeah.
stop
So-
breathing. They don't jump off their house
mean-
or something.
Chester was really good friends with Chris Cornell, and he did a tribute to Soundgarden. Do you think, like, whoever does a tribute to Linkin Park, like their lead singer is going to hang themselves?
Like it's just next. Like somebody
Yeah.
who's really close to Chester, who's also a singer, is gonna be like, "Fuck."
Or
man.
they don't even have to be close to him. Like, wouldn't it be great if, like, Jay-Z on his next show does a tribute to Linkin Park, and then
Well, he'd have to hang himself because that.
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like, maybe there's some sort of curse where they're not even really hanging themselves. Like, we really need to look at Chris Cornell and see who he did tributes to recently, and see if any of those people died by hanging.
Maybe it'll be Chad Kroger.
Maybe that would be.
I feel like he's
What
gonna
if,
live forever, just to spite everybody.
What if Chris Cornell like stumbled upon some sort of like Indian burial ground, or like awoke some witch?
Well, I
And
mean,
now
who are his other singing
just-
friends? We should watch out for that. Who was close to Chris Cornell?
Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
He's like the last
Dave
grunge
said-
guy.
Dave said, "I'm all for suicides as long as they do it in a way that doesn't force someone else to clean up their corpse." That makes sense.
I mean,
I don't know that I would want to go.
somebody
with
has to
sharks
clean
just
up your
because
corpse because you're just lying there. So somebody's got to pull
Well,
you out
yeah,
of there.
but I get it. Like, you don't want a shotgun to the face because then there's just blood everywhere.
Yeah, that's quite a mess. At least do it in a rainstorm.
so it all washes away.
I don't know who Flip is, but this just in: killing yourself equals a lapse in judgment.
I mean, it is.
Yeah. Some people that survive their suicide attempts, that's what they say. Like, right as they go for the attempt, immediately through their head, they're just like, oh fuck, no, and they immediately regret it.
Yeah.
Like if they jump off a building or a bridge, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't do this.
A shark would suck, man. Like, if you just jumped into the ocean.
Yeah, but like, where are you going to find like a pool of sharks to jump into? I feel like that's harder than anything.
I don't know. I mean,
Like, it's harder than
but-
you finding like a bottle of pills and swallowing them. Like, you have to go out of your way to find a pool of sharks to dive into.
Yeah.
You probably have to chum
true.
the water.
Yeah, you'd have to chum the water, then jump in. It would be difficult. I would like to see that, though. I if there isn't already a movie being made just about lead singers doing tributes and then some ghost showing up, the Ring woman crawls out of their television and hangs them.
Anchor thinks maybe for both of them, they were trying to masturbate. I don't think that's true.
No, because they didn't say they were found naked at all.
Yeah, they didn't have their dicks in their hands.
Yeah.
Although rigor mortis had set in.
Maybe Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington had like a suicide pact, and they were both supposed to go that night.
Well, then why did he wait like 2 months?
Well, he obviously chickened out.
For his birthday.
Oh.
It's his birthday present.
Is today Chris Cornell's birthday?
Yeah,
Is it really?
it really is.
That's not true.
It is. You can look it up.
Yeah, it's been in the articles.
Oh, that's fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I
all
mean,
the articles
obviously
have
the
talked
main
about how they
question-
were so close.
Yeah, and obviously the main question is, like, was he so depressed about Chris's birthday that he did it for that reason? I mean, he was clearly depressed about other things, but
6 kids, 2 different wives, 6 kids, 6 fucking kids. It's a lot of kids. And yeah, you're right. Just to like kind of leave them behind. Like, you really gotta hate your kids.
That's why he did it. He hates
was
his
it
kids.
was it better in Robin Williams' case because his kids were all adults? Like, is he free to commit suicide for that reason? He didn't leave behind young kids.
I guess it depends on. Yeah, I think you're, because once you have kids, that's it. You have to dedicate to raising them. Once the kid is raised and free to go on their own, then you can selfishly kill yourself.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but like how old does the kid have to be? Is it 18? Like what's the cutoff? Or 30? Where like 30 is like, they're probably pretty good here. I can kill myself.
18.
18's the
18,
cutoff?
yeah, because then they can go out and get a job and live on their own, and they can be self-sufficient. Under that, they have to be put into the system, and then, I mean, I guess if the mom's still there, that's fine. But, yeah, if you kill yourself, you have to do it after. Like, again, when you have a kid, you can still take time for yourself and do things that you like to do, but the number one priority is obviously raising the kid.
Unless he did something like really evil that he was ashamed of that we don't know about.
Fucked all 6 of his kids.
I mean, they do say people who were molested tend to do it themselves.
What would you?
I've never heard that.
What would you do if, like, tomorrow, like, all 6 kids had it, like, they just did a group suicide?
What would
I feel like
nothing?
at least one of them wouldn't go along with it.
One of them would just, like, fake drink the Kool-Aid?
Like, no, I don't want to. How old are his kids? They can't be that old. He was only 41.
Yeah, I don't think they're that old.
Michelle in the chat says, what if your kids are total assholes? If your kids are total assholes, then you need to, like, be in the car with your kid as you drive off of a bridge.
Yeah, take them with you.
If you've raised a complete asshole to the point where you're going to kill yourself to escape your kid, take the kid with you.
Well, no, that's exactly why you're killing yourself, to escape the kid. Now the kid's with you.
No, the kid's not going to be with you, but I'm just saying, like, kill the kid.
Yeah, but then in the afterlife, the kid's with you,
There's no afterlife.
And you have eternal custody of the kid. Like, the most you can hope for in this case is like, oh, you got like 50 years without the kid. No.
I don't know who's next. Who's next? Who's next on the hanging list? These celebrities love to hang themselves.
They hang themselves in threes. Isn't that a rule?
Well, I think it's
Well,
deaths
like
in
some-
threes. We had a couple other deaths this week.
Oh, yeah?
The
George
deaths in
Romero,
threes.
right?
And Martin
yeah.
Landau.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin Landau. They're old, though. They didn't hang themselves.
No, yeah, they just died of being old.
Yeah, everybody, like, I'm friends with all the people in
The horror
that
community.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody had to share the link to the article. Hey, Romero's dead. He was such a huge influence on my life. I never met him, but...
Even with this guy, even with Chester dying today, like, I saw so many posts that were like,
yeah,
the Linkin Park guy died today. So sad. I was like, really? You couldn't even fucking read the article to find out what his name is? But it's just like, oh, this is terrible news. Sad face.
Yeah.
People really are just awful. They're awful people. Well, I guess Godspeed, Chester Bennington. It's a bummer that you're dead. I haven't, again, really followed his career since, the early days, but I definitely was a fan. Hybrid Theory left an impact on me, so.
I think his oldest kid was about 20, and his...
He had a kid at 21?
Yeah, with his...
Yeah, he was 41 when he died today, right?
And his youngest was 6, I think.
Wow. Anchor never
Kind
liked
of a big
Linkin Park.
spread. Can you imagine if your kid is 20 and then all of a sudden, you have another kid?
Do you think that Dave Harvey's a big fan of the Linkin Park?
I think he secretly is, but wouldn't admit it to anybody.
I'm sure there's a lot of those out there, for sure.
I don't know if Dave's
And I
really a
love
big
this-
fan of anything.
He's a
I
big
love the
Gaga
smell
fan.
of the insert to that Hybrid Theory album. The insert that they had.
Didn't it smell like paper?
Dude, it smelled great.
Are you smelling it right now?
No. I don't have it. I don't even know where that is. I had a it was a '96 Dodge Neon, and I had like all my CDs and a bunch of stuff in it, and the transmission went out at a Wendy's, and it got towed, and I never saw the car again. I never was able to get to it and get all my stuff out of it. Had all my albums in it, my CDs.
You hadn't digitized them by that point?
No, this was like 2003 or 4 or something when it got towed.
You hadn't digitized them by that point?
They didn't have digits back
2006.
then.
They did.
Yeah.
Napster was like 1998.
Yeah, but they didn't, like, iPods weren't really a thing.
They were.
I mean, they were, but they weren't. But yeah, it was really expensive.
Yeah, but you didn't have to get an iPod. You could get a Diamond Rio that was like $60.
That was still the age of CDs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I had the cassette deck in my car.
With the tape adapter, right?
Yeah, the tape adapter that ran to the...
Dave claims that he is not a fan.
Of Linkin Park?
He says
Of course
they
not.
have always been shit too tolerable.
So he tolerates some of their music.
Yeah.
You know what my first car was in high school? My dad's old Bronco.
Chevy Bronco?
Was it white?
No, it was gray. But OJ got released today.
OJ did not get released today.
Or paroled today.
He didn't.
He
He got approved for parole.
Yeah,
he was
I meant to
over-
say
yeah.
paroled. Sorry.
He got approved
Granted,
in October, so he still has a
right.
couple months left.
He
was all smiles. Did you see his creepy smile? That's what all the articles posted.
He's going to go hang out with Bill Cosby.
His big sigh of relief when he was released by all 4 judges.
I mean, it was expected for him to be released, and I get it for similar cases. Like, he's done exactly the same as everybody else, and it's actually probably better that he gets out in terms of taxpayer money. Like, why house a guy
he
for
did
23 more
definitely
years?
more time than probably somebody would have.
Yeah, he did.
He did the minimum.
Yeah, he
so,
did 9 years, so it's not like he hasn't served his time.
I mean,
It is crazy to think that it was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, when they said 9 years, I was like, no, this had to have been like 4 or 5 years ago, right?
No,
and
it
then I was
like
looking
almost
at,
a decade.
Couldn't believe that it was 9 years ago that this all went down, and it was so unbelievable. It was such a ridiculous story that O.J. Simpson
Robbed a guy at gunpoint.
gotten off for murder and wrote this book and was in the headlines for all this shit.
The book never got published. Remember at the last second?
No,
he
I
pulled it?
know. I know that
If
all
I
of
had
that
done it.
happened, but
Yeah.
all of those stories were coming out around this time. And then, yeah, he was in a hotel room and he held a guy at gunpoint to get some of his memorabilia back. And you just, like, what?
Like, does he still have money at this point, or was it all like tied up?
His lawyer or somebody said, like, oh, he's just going to live a very quiet, subdued life playing golf and drinking mojitos. I was like, can he even afford one fucking mojito?
Yeah, like, isn't all of his money gone? I guess that's why he held somebody up for his memorabilia, because it's ultimately all he had left. But
And mojitos are like $11 at a nice place.
yeah, and in California at a fucking resort, it's gonna be more than
Yeah.
$11.
Oh, I can't see that he has any money left at all because he's had to dump everything into lawyers because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, like the man gets away or gets acquitted. I mean, obviously he was acquitted. I can't say that he did commit the murders because he wasn't. But like he beats the murder rap, literally like avoids a life in prison, and all he has to do is not murder anybody again, allegedly. And he can't do it. Like it was just too much work for him.
Yeah, the whole thing is strange. And then again, coming to that realization that it was 9 years ago, and then here we are. He's getting out on parole. All the hacks in the world are saying the juice is loose.
Yeah.
That's the thing to say.
That was like the easiest joke to make.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. And then I just didn't care. He's going to get out. Do you think he's going to stay clean? Probably. I don't think anything is going to happen.
Maybe he'll meet.
He's just out.
He'll meet Dave Chappelle again. We'll get a fifth story.
Do you think he'll do any interviews and try to release his story for the?
He could be on the next season of that Netflix
book?
show.
The O.J. Simpson,
Yeah.
That was a good show. If you hadn't seen it, it's only 8 episodes. You should watch it.
It's funny, a lot of the comments I've read today about him, I can't believe he's getting out already after killing someone. And, should be in the rest of his life, and they don't even know he's not in for killing someone.
No, they had no idea that he's in there for a different crime.
I mean, I think we all definitely know that he was treated so harshly because of his past.
Because of the past crime, and that was one of the big defenses against his sentencing of 33 years was that people were saying there's no reason he held somebody at gunpoint, he didn't murder anybody here, so he shouldn't be in jail for 33 years. They said it was an overblown sentence because people felt that he should have been guilty in the first trial.
Yeah. Oh man, his big sigh of relief, and then he kept thanking everybody in the courtroom today. Just, oh, thank you. Oh, and thank you. He pointed at somebody, gave him a really stern thank you. He paid them his mojito money.
Then he shouted, "Hey, hey, hey."
Do you think there's going to be some sort of special where it's Bill Cosby and the Juice?
They should do a show together.
I would love to see not really a comedy, but some sort of 2-man show where they just tour around the country. Would you go see that? Would you buy tickets to see Bill Cosby and the Juice?
Yeah,
on some sort of off-Broadway.
But see, you're gonna get a show with Bill Cosby because he's a stand-up comedian. So you would have seen he has an act that he can do. What is OJ gonna do on stage?
Just be the Juice.
Is he just gonna throw a football around, or I don't even know what position he played.
I'm sure Cosby could talk him through. He was a running back. Cosby could talk him through telling some good stories.
Tell him about that time you murdered that bitch.
All right. Well, me and Bill.
Well,
he was hanging out in this hotel room. He had just drugged and raped this bitch. She was just lying there, so I had to shoot her in the head.
Dave says 2 years until OJ does 60 Minutes about being out.
That's
probably
not
right.
That long. I think he's going to have one before Christmas because he gets out in October. I bet that there's a sweeps thing before Christmas where he comes out and does, I don't know, one of those shows. Dateline.
At this point, any of them will be throwing money at them to interview.
Yeah. And he needs
there's
the money.
gobs of money. Yeah, and in 2 years, if he waits 2 years, they will have forgot about him. They won't want to talk to him as much as they want to talk to him now.
He is going to sell his first interview for a bunch of money, and then I don't know, next year sometime sell the rights to his story so that Ryan Murphy can make another American crime story featuring O.J.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get with somebody to make a show to combat what that series did. It's not Netflix that did it. What was that?
On FX.
Yeah. So he's going to think that they portrayed him in a bad light. So there's going to be another show to show more of his story.
When he watched it, he said that some of his complaints were about Cuba Gooding Jr. He felt like he was too small of a guy to play him.
Yeah. So he's going to get Will Smith.
Yeah, he's
Will
going to get
Smith's son.
Yeah, he's going to get. Yeah, it's going to be Jaden Smith.
It'll be Jaden Smith to play O.J. Simpson.
No, he's going to sell the good part about his life story, where he was a football player that came from nothing and then saved his family and stuff, and then the movie will end, and there'll be a little, years later at the end, O.J. was acquitted for murder. We're still looking for the person who did it.
Have you seen that on Adult Swim, that Mike Tyson solving crime show or paranormal solving crimes?
No.
He should do a show like that.
Is it literally Mike Tyson solving crimes, or is it like animated?
It's animated,
Oh.
but it's hilarious.
I would watch a show where OJ is just solving crimes or like ghost hunting or something. But if it was actually him though, not animated.
Him in the show.
Yeah, like if it was him like going through haunted houses.
Put him in an FX sitcom like Louis, where he just goes about his life and just no matter what happens, he just can't stop killing people.
I mean, whenever they decide to remake the Naked Gun movies, he can make a cameo.
They'll bring Leslie Nielsen back from the dead.
He can be the Terminator like they originally wanted.
Who would, if they did a reboot of Naked Gun, who would they have to play Leslie Nielsen?
Steve Martin could do it.
No, I'm talking like younger comedians.
What, like Adam Devine?
It'd be something like that. Not him, but
Who's a younger comedian? Aziz Ansari?
what?
Doesn't he just give you that Leslie Nielsen vibe?
No, he's nothing like Leslie Nielsen. Adam, have you? Did you see that they released the
Jim
villain
Gaffigan.
for the Justice League movie?
I did not. Who is it? Is it Darkseid?
It's Steppenwolf.
Oh, Darkseid's general.
Steppenwolf is gonna be the villain.
So he's
And
like
I-
heralding Darkseid.
Couldn't be. I wouldn't say it. I couldn't be, but I'm kind of annoyed by it.
I didn't really know who it was. I asked Matt who Steppenwolf was because I hadn't really heard of him aside from the band.
He's Darkseid's uncle, and he's just like a general in his army.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's another god, like from Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman had Ares, and that's kind of what Steppenwolf is. Like he's a, almighty, powerful.
Well, this just goes back to what Lex Luthor was saying in Batman v Superman, is that like they live in a world of gods now, and so they won't get a traditional villain. They need, since Superman is basically a god and Wonder Woman's a god, they need a god level villain to be on their level.
They did already blow their load with Doomsday.
Yeah, it just, I said this to Matt before, but like they haven't done a Justice League movie before. This is people's first real exposure to a Justice League type movie in like a large audience. Why wouldn't they go with a more traditional villain that people are aware of? Like, why go with Steppenwolf?
Want it to be different,
Because-
and they wanted to save Darkseid for an even bigger payoff.
Because DC
DC
is
hates their
awful.
movies.
Yeah.
Well, that they
DC
hinted to
is
Darkseid
dog shit.
in Batman v Superman when Batman had that weird dream where he was in the desert killing guys. They had the Darkseid, hint in there. So, like, are they saving that for a different Justice League movie?
I mean, it's not to say that maybe they're I don't know. Maybe there's something that they haven't revealed yet, and they're just revealing Steppenwolf. But everything that I've read is that he's like, this is the villain. This is the villain for the Justice League movie. It would make sense that if they're going to put him in there, that, okay, Darkseid's going to also be the villain. But it does seem like this is heralding, the after this, we're going to... Maybe they're trying to do, like, this is the first Avengers movie, and then we're going to have the Justice League, like, versus Darkseid, in Infinity Wars. Sorry, Darkseid.
Well, they spell it weird. SEID. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's Darkseid in my eyes.
I mean, I don't fully understand, like, the backstory of the New Gods and the Fourth World, but basically what I do understand is the Third World was, like, the Norse gods, like Thor and like, Odin and all those gods, and they were wiped out, and Apocalypse and New Genesis had the superpowers and became the new gods and they were the fourth world. And I guess what happens is some god wave happened that gave all the people on Earth, all the superheroes on Earth, their godlike powers. And Darkseid thinks that the fourth world is going to be wiped out by the fifth world, which is the Earth heroes.
It just gets too too much.
Too complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
fully
too much.
understand it.
What would be
Like
a
the-
more traditional Justice League villain? Like, as people who read the comics.
Vandal
or-
Savage is a big one.
Yeah, but like when they did that on Legends of Tomorrow, it came off as
I mean,
kind of
honestly,
a boring
they wouldn't
villain.
even have to do like a traditional Justice League villain, but any villain of any of the
Sure, like one
or
of
a
the-
grouping of villains.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a Brainiac would be kind of cool.
Do you think they're going to bring Jared Leto back as Joker and he does his own little piece?
I think they announced that did they say they're not bringing him back as the Joker, or
I don't know. I didn't hear anything like that.
I thought I read somewhere.
Because they're trying to make this a whole universe and they're doing another Suicide Squad. It seems like he would be back naturally, right? He's still somewhere in the background.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Truly
because he
don't really
did
care.
get Harley at the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you see that revelation too from DC Comics that there's actually 3 Jokers?
No. What's that about?
Batman sat in Metrion's chair, which is like gave him all knowing, and he could ask any question. And he asked, "What's the Joker's true identity?" And it revealed that there are 3 Jokers.
Did it tell him the 3 Jokers' identities?
I didn't read the comic. There's probably more to it still to come.
How did he not know there were 3 different people? It's just a regular guy with Joker makeup.
Well, no, he fell in the acid bath that ate chemicals that bleached his skin. They've never like truly like it's always been Jack Napier was like his traditional
Right.
identity, but they've never like really cemented.
I was going to say, like, I can't for the life of me think of what the Joker's real identity is, and I don't think I've ever come across it in
It's out
various
there. Like there's
iterations of
different
stuff.
in the early days. Like he did have an identity, but that is more so the way they handle it now. Is that nobody knows who he is. He's more of just a
Well, what was his original identity?
chaos.
Like, was he just a regular dude that somehow fell into acid or something?
Yeah, just a
The '89
criminal.
Batman movie had it, the whole thing. He was like a crook who fell in the acid and turned deranged.
Oh, I don't remember. I'd have to watch it again.
Oh.
He probably never saw it.
No, I saw it because I remember thinking that Michael Keaton was dumb as Batman. But
The '89 Batman is like the all traditional origin
Yeah.
of the Joker.
is that the one with Catwoman or is that Batman Returns?
That was Batman Returns.
I really remember the one with the Penguin and Catwoman. And
With
Batman Returns.
yeah, it must have been Batman Returns.
It now must have been Batman Returns. It's Batman Returns.
with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito in his star-killing role. And he ate a fish.
I just do you guys think that Justice League is gonna be good at all?
No, I really don't have any faith in it, and I don't think that I'm not justified in that response. Yeah, Wonder Woman had a decent movie, and that's saying something from the rest of the DC movies, but I don't know. I don't have faith in the rest of them. They've had a bad track
Like what
record.
Wonder Woman again? Wonder Woman was a fine movie. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't
it
the
wasn't
best
great.
movie of the year or anything that they try to portray it as, but
I keep seeing articles every week about how much money it's making, and then I even saw an article that said like it surpassed the amount of money
it's
that
not that much
Guardians
more
of
than
the Galaxy made.
It's not that
And
much more than a
it's like-
Marvel movie. It didn't make it. It's on the same level.
And I don't even think it was true. I think like
Well, they
Guardians of the Galaxy, it still made.
They always precede that with like for
couple
a
million
female-led movie or a female-directed movie or something. Like there's always an asterisk next to that.
Right. It just this came out and said Wonder Woman finally surpasses Guardians to be the highest grossing film of the summer. But I'm looking at Box Office Mojo, and
It's not.
Guardians made $386 million, and Wonder Woman made $383. So
Is that worldwide or domestic?
domestic.
Well, I didn't pay full price for my Wonder Woman ticket. I got it for $4, so that's the right level.
So, kind of to update everybody on the Hollywood Fantasy League, Spider-Man finally had its complete run, and I think we got 152 points. It did score less than
Wonder Woman.
It scored less than Wonder Woman and Guardians of the Galaxy, which kind of bummed me out because I was definitely on my soapbox saying that Spider-Man was going to be the biggest film out of all three. I will say again, I definitely was wrong, but in my defense, it made more money than Wonder Woman, and it had a higher Metacritic than Guardians of the Galaxy. So, I mean,
that's what's dumb is that Wonder Woman had, I felt like, an artificially high Metacritic, and the only reason why it beat us by a couple points was because of its Metacritic being higher than Spider-Man, because it was ridiculously 90-something Metacritic, even though it made less money than Spider-Man.
Well, the Rotten Tomatoes was 90. I think the Metacritic for Wonder Woman
it was like 76 or something. Was your 90 figure like from the first weekend or something?
Did
it go down to 76?
Yeah.
No, it was never in the 90s. It was
in
the
the
76.
90s.
No, the Rotten Tomatoes was in the 90s. The Metacritic was never in the 90s. It had like a 78 or 79%.
We looked it up and we talked about it being in the 90s.
I think
the 90s was Rotten
Yeah.
Tomatoes, dude. I'm telling you, Rotten Tomatoes, it sits in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt's right about that. I remember talking about it. We talked about the discrepancy.
Yeah, it's still, I think it's 92% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Like it definitely didn't fall from 90% Metacritic to 76% that it's at now. That's pretty
Why do you have to
pretty
hyphenate
insane.
stuff?
But anyway, yeah. So the tallies for Spider-Man came in 152, which is good. That really we needed that. We're trying to catch up to Not Safe for Water Coolers 281 points that they have. War of the Planet of the Apes, I'm pretty sure is gonna pull in a solid like 81, 82 points. I'm pretty sure it'll do at least 100 million. And then we have the Dunkirk, which comes out this weekend. Comes out tomorrow, which is dude. The Metacritic came out for that this week at like 96%.
Yeah, it's supposedly the film of the year. It's getting a lot of Oscar buzz already.
96% on Metacritic to start off at 96%.
Right now, it's at 94, and it's based on 50 reviews.
So I mean, I don't think we'll fall below 90%. We just if it can make $100 million over the course of 2 weekends. I've been seeing a lot of really kind of conflicting articles. I either see it's going to be Christopher Nolan's lowest grossing film, where it makes $40 million its opening weekend. And then I saw 2 articles today that said it was going to make $60 million this weekend.
Well, when I picked it, I said that I felt like it could be a sleeper, and I'm kind of hoping it does really well this weekend.
Yeah, this is the film that, again, like The American Sniper.
Yeah.
That movie wasn't supposed to do well at all. And
like, do you think
it ended up blowing up?
Do you think, like, okay, so most of the reviews on Metacritic are positive. There's a lot of 100s on here. And then some guy just writes one that's a 38. Like, do you think he just feels like, I got this wrong after seeing like 50 other people gave it like 100 and he gave it a 38? Or do you think he feels like everybody else is an idiot and I'm awesome?
I know Dave's in the chat room. I don't know. Is he still walking home? It's never been this late before.
He usually pops in after 10.
Is it after 10? I thought he was always usually on like 9:30ish.
No, he pops in after 10. It's 9:55.
No, it's like those people. They never give real scores with them. It's either 0 or 100. There's no in between with them.
Well, this guy gave it a 38. So.
I mean, that's
pretty bad.
Effectively a 0.
But there's
Well,
so
you're
many
gonna
100s.
have the people that like.
There's a huge list
that are
of
going to say.
100s.
You're gonna have those people that will give Dunkirk a bad review because it glorifies war. So, I mean, oh, the big war, and we have to worship America and shit like that. So he's just been waiting for us to finish the comic book up.
I don't think America's even in the war in Dunkirk. Isn't it before America joined?
Yeah, it's before America joins. It's actually a British World War II story.
Could hurt us. That could hurt us.
It has nothing to do with
If it's
America.
not America, if it's not rah rah
Yeah.
America, then the American sniper people aren't going to show up. They should have called it the American Dunkirk.
Yeah, but it does have Nazis, so like people hate Nazis. They'll go see it for that.
People hate Nazis, but they love America more than hating Nazis.
There should be a like a little title card at the end after everything happens. It said, "And then America came in to save everyone."
Do you guys know like the history behind Dunkirk, or are you just going into? This,
I don't know
blind?
dick about Dunkirk.
But you're
I
gonna
know
go
that
see
Christopher
it, right?
Nolan directed the movie. I know that Tom Hardy's in it,
It's
and it's got some kid from One Direction.
the Nazis were like sieging Dunkirk, and like a bunch of civilian, like fishing and commercial boats came together to rescue the people trying to flee
It's essentially
because
it.
there was no military presence.
The Nazis had like circled around, like because the British guys and the French guys thought that they were going to cut through Belgium and attack them from that way. So then they stopped at Dunkirk because like, oh, they'll get hit from Belgium. But then like the Nazis were like, hey, we're going to circle around and go at you from behind. So then they were surrounded, and so all the civilians at Dunkirk basically rowed out the 30,000 British soldiers out to sea because the sea was so far away. So it was a bunch of civilians saved 30,000 soldiers.
I'll probably go see it.
I'm definitely like I was actually talking to Joe yesterday, and Joe asked me. He said, "Are you going to go see it in IMAX?" And I said,
Yeah.
"No, I'll probably just go at the regular theater." But then the more I was thinking about it, is like, you know, this film was shot
We've shot in IMAX.
to be presented in IMAX, and now I kind of feel like, shit, I should find an IMAX theater and go see it, just for the fact that, you know, this is going to be a really epic film, you know?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna go see it. I don't know if I'll see it in IMAX because I was planning on going.
Do they have IMAX in New Hampshire?
I don't think so. I don't think
You
it's the
know,
technology they have.
They do, but it's only available on Fridays from 4:30 to 6 p.m. And that's only if the IMAX hamsters can.
And the movie is under an hour and a half.
They don't have like
turn it off at 6.
a Jordan's Furniture there where you can go and look at
There's
furniture.
definitely not a Jordan's Furniture.
and then go
anywhere
see
near me.
see IMAX.
No, that is kind of a strange thing. People only locally would know that.
Yeah,
But there's a Jordan's Furniture, and inside of the Jordan's Furniture, there's an IMAX theater.
yeah, it's a furniture store, and they purposely set it up where you have to walk through the entire furniture store to get to the IMAX theater in the back.
And it's like a winding path, too. Like,
Yeah.
you have to walk back and forth.
Yeah,
There's like walls in the middle of the store.
You have to walk through like 7 different showrooms.
Whoa. Walls in the middle of the store. Unheard of.
What?
I don't know. It's just a
Hi,
weird thing
Dave.
to point out. Hi.
How's it going, buddy?
All right.
Are you excited about Dunkirk?
Not really. The way you guys talk about it is strange though, because over the past like 8 months, and especially when it was first announced and the first like information about it was posted, it was probably getting more hype than any of the other superhero movies had before.
because
I
It's
feel like they
came
haven't
out.
really
But not in the
Christopher
nerd
Nolan did it.
community.
at all.
No, I'm pretty sure that they got a lot, or Dunkirk had tons and tons of hype. I mean, it slowed down obviously, but when it was first getting,
Well, I don't know that it's
Any-
been marketed really at all because
not
Like,
recently, but it
yeah.
was before, is what
But
I'm
it
telling
comes
you.
out, like,
before that.
tomorrow, right?
Okay.
And like
That's not
there's
what I'm
no
saying.
ads for it.
When Joe picked Dunkirk, I had to Google.
You had
the
to Google
movie.
It's
what it
really
was?
strange because, like I
Yeah.
said,
I didn't
like
know
said,
anything about it.
There was a huge media push, like right when they were starting to release their, like any of the stills and stuff from production.
I picked Dunkirk.
And the trailer, for instance, I'm pretty sure had equal hype when it was first released as any of the superhero movies had. So it is weird that you guys are talking about it like an American Sniper, where American Sniper people kind of
Well, I mean, all of the studios have it like they're lowballing it as far as the amount of money it makes this weekend.
Yes.
They're saying that it's even articles a couple weeks ago for long range projections were saying, hopefully it can beat Valerian. Like they had Valerian beating Dunkirk financially.
I think it's going to go Dunkirk is number 1, then Valerian, and then War for Planet of the Apes.
Man, wouldn't it be great if like War of the Planet of the Apes had like a huge surge?
Yeah, for
and
weekend
made
too.
$200 million.
It was an okay movie.
Did you like the War of the Planet of the Apes?
It was fine. I mean, it was very fantasy movie like.
Well, yeah. I mean, it has intelligent apes in it.
No, that's not what I mean, Joe. I mean, like the format was just exactly a fantasy movie where it's like 3 heroes off on an adventure and they find like the hermit in the middle of nowhere that tells them all the information they need.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy movie.
It definitely was. I thought I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed it. I went to a cinema pub to see War of the Planet of the Apes, and I've been to one other cinema pub in my life, and this one we had to drive like an hour away to Tilton, New Hampshire, and I was surprised. The food was really good. There was a guy that couldn't see his menu, so he turned the flashlight on his cell phone to look at the menu,
movie?
And then it reflected off of the plastic menu and literally illuminated like the entire cinema. Like you could look up and see. I was like, what is this light? What is this coming from? And it's this one guy. So he arrived late to War of the Planet of the Apes. Like,
it's not a movie that you want to get late to.
Spent
or be late to.
Most of the time looking at the menu on his flashlight. Ordered his first round of food, then spent a while looking at the drinks menu, ordered a couple drinks, and left early. Like, I remember when...
Maybe he just really wanted the food.
Maybe he didn't like the
movie. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, the avalanche...
The monkeys win?
Yeah, the avalanche scene. I look over, and Flashlight Guy's gone. Him and his whole family. Well,
I mean, to be fair, it was a scary scene. Like, if the kids were there, they wouldn't want to see it.
That scene kind of, like, at the end of it, like, the whole lead up to it was cool, but the end of it was just really stupid. Like, what kind of morons blow up a snowy mountain?
Let's rush our entire army underneath the base of the mountain.
I will say the ending of the movie, and again, if you haven't seen it, turn it off. I thought it was dumb that Caesar died, and I understand why he died, and I understand like the impact they were trying to make in the story for having Caesar die, but why he couldn't have survived that? Like, why couldn't they tend to his wounds before they made this long horse ride to the valley where they could all live their lives?
He hit it, and they didn't know about it. Like, nobody paid attention.
I hate when movies do that, where it's like the cheap way for him to die.
Yeah, because they made a big deal about him riding through the desert. Yeah, like how long of a ride was that? Like several days at least, and nobody
and then
noticed
he's like,
that he was
"Oh, hey,
bleeding out."
by the way, this entire time that we apparently haven't taken a break through the desert to get to this valley, I've got an arrow stuck in my chest."
Yeah,
and I got you guys here. See you later. Checking out.
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't like special or anything.
What was your favorite ape, Dave?
What was my favorite ape?
Yeah, was it Caesar?
It's got to be Maurice. Maurice.
No, it was Steve Zahn as Abe Vigoda.
Oh, bad ape.
I thought, dude, how could it not be Maurice?
I mean,
Maurice is so Jewish.
Is he?
His name is Maurice.
That's a French name.
Jewish ape.
Is a French Jew.
No, but I liked Abe Vigoda monkey.
Maurice Harvey.
He was
That's
annoying.
like clearly somebody that would fit into your family.
Do you think he was the cutest monkey because he wore a little snow vest?
No.
He did look really cute in that. You have to admit, when he came out wearing that snow vest,
and the little
you didn't
beanie?
want to just give him a hug.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like really, it was it was funny because it's like so dumb, but
Yeah, but he was cute.
yeah. But yeah, my favorite part of the movie was probably when he like poked his head out of that hole towards the end, where it just looked like a ball sack.
That was the weirdest scene.
It was so weird.
There's a scene in the movie where this little ape who's like almost hairless
Looks like Abe Vigoda.
They're trying to free the other apes, and he digs a hole like underneath, like burrows underneath of their cell, and then he pokes his head out, and his head literally just sits there for like 5 minutes. It's just him with his head above the ground,
And he's just staring at other apes.
he's just staring. They let it sit for so long, and I remember thinking, I was like, well, this is all right, it's kind of funny, and it's going.
Hmm.
His head's still there. The guy with the flashlight's still over there.
Hmm.
Okay. He's still there. And then finally, like, something happened. It was really bizarre.
Did you catch all the Apocalypse Now references in there?
How the wall
No,
said
and neither
Apocalypse
did you, because you haven't seen Apocalypse Now. Is this
I
another
have seen
Miles
it.
Morales situation that
I
you
have
read?
seen Apocalypse Now. We watched it in high school, so shove it.
You didn't pay attention.
I did.
You were too busy
It
trying
said
to have the kids be
Apocalypse
into you.
Now under in the ground.
Yeah, it did say that. Is that the reference you're talking about?
No,
where
but
it
there was
literally
more.
said it?
There was more. Like when he shaved his head for no reason, when he just comes out shaving his head while he's addressing his troops. The fact that they had workers, the ape workers, that's just the Viet Cong. So
I actually
Also,
hated
I mean, that's
Apocalypse
just
Now.
standard. I mean,
that's just
I
standard.
don't think that's a reference to anything.
they.
Having ape workers isn't
Yeah.
a reference,
I'm gonna
Joe.
find it.
That's just standard, like, labor camp stuff. I don't know how that's a reference.
Planet of the Apes.
Are you going to
no,
Google
no,
whether
no,
somebody else said it's a
no,
reference or
God
not?
damn it.
'Cause
Yeah,
that's
he
retarded.
knows exactly where he's going to.
No, I don't.
He's going to whatever Entertainment Now or Entertainment Weekly or Variety fucking article he read earlier.
I didn't read an article about it, but thanks.
I will say, and this is definitely true for all of the Planet of the Apes films since Rise of the Planet of the Apes. God damn, do they look good.
Mhm.
They have that fucking
Damn,
ape
are those apes
technology
sexy.
down. But man, it just has gotten better after each film. This one especially, it's like, Jesus, they look great.
I kind of have a hard time because any of like the darker faced chimps, I feel like really bad because all I can see is that one black dude from Remember the Titans, and it's horrible.
Wasn't there
Yeah.
a couple black dudes in Remember the Titans?
Yeah, but you know the one I'm talking about, like the main one.
The one that
He
was
was in
all
another
sad
movie.
when his
He was in
friend
a movie,
like, got in a car accident.
Sure, he was in a movie like a couple years ago where he had a mustache. That's all I can tell you. I can't remember his name or anything like what that movie was, but he had a mustache recently. But he looks like a chimpanzee.
Anchor in the chat said Winter was his favorite ape.
Yeah.
Why? Because he was a donkey.
A donkey? It was good. I enjoyed it. 80. What did you think it deserved? The 81% that we've talked a lot about Wonder Woman and
What
whether
did the
or not,
first two have?
70 something.
That's a good, yeah, 70.
No, then I don't think that it deserved any.
Because the reason I went with this film as our second film was because of how well the previous two had done. And had
Yeah,
made-
but that's fine. But I think that this one wasn't as solid or.
well, according to a lot of reviewers, it is the best one of the three.
I don't think it is. I think it's the worst one of the three because
What's your
this one-
favorite of the trilogy?
the second one is the best one, and the first one I think is close behind, with this one being the third. Because this one, it felt like I was watching other movies
So you,
and like
you
a
rate,
different type of movie.
You rate the Apes trilogy a lot like how people rate the original Star Wars trilogy.
You didn't feel like overall though
Yeah.
it was a strong trilogy, because a lot of trilogies fall apart in the last
No,
movie.
it is. It is. But I think that this one was the weakest of the three.
I didn't necessarily agree with that. I felt the first one was the weakest of the three. personally, because I had just watched all three within the past week, and I just
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think James.
You got to understand that Dave Harvey is a huge John Lithgow fan.
Yeah.
Fan. Anything if it's got John Lithgow in it, already that movie is starting off with 100.
It's funny though, because I was just telling Joe the other day that he was the most annoying part of the first one, just because it was like so outrageous the way that he portrayed having Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
I actually felt James Franco
didn't
was the
act
worst
like
part
Bubby.
of the first movie, followed by John Lithgow. But
But at least
Yeah.
the first movie was
I enjoyed the
not.
second
It didn't
version.
feel like I was watching something else. Like this one could have been any movie. It didn't have to be apes. It had almost no relevancy to me that they were apes or were part of that trilogy. It could have been
I felt
just
like
a
it
standard
suffered
movie.
from a couple just logical
That's true.
flaws. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it, but like it didn't make sense to me why the apes and the humans were even fighting each other. Like humans are basically
you-
wiped out. Like
You mentioned that to me.
Yeah.
I
last
don't
night.
understand that though.
Yeah, I don't quite get it either because I definitely get why man wants to kill the apes because of again the simian flu. They really do
they're not
go out of their way to
carriers-
kind of explain.
carriers of it though. The simian flu just doesn't affect apes, and like they don't
You
have
don't
to
know
be.
that.
Yeah,
Well-
but they don't know that. They're living in like a
They do know that. It
post-apocalyptic
says
world.
they don't.
it says
They
that
don't.
it made the apes smarter and it made
Yes.
humans sick. That's
Yes.
literally one of the apes said that, and everybody knows
But
that.
that doesn't mean that
Yeah,
the apes
and they're
aren't carriers.
They're scared that the apes are getting smarter and that people are getting
Yes,
dumber. and
but
that they
humans
want-
are almost wiped out. They're still in
So don't defend
California for
themselves,
some
just
reason.
die?
No, there's no reason to defend themselves when they could move anywhere else in the United States because all the apes wanted was the one forest they were in. Like they weren't
Yeah, but
planning
they-
on
they-
moving.
They didn't
Okay, but-
want the apes to grow. They didn't.
Right.
It's like if I go into my
Yeah, but it doesn't
garden
matter.
and I
There's
see
like
a
a
weed
couple
patch,
thousand
I'm gonna
humans left.
destroy the weed patch.
Yeah, but there's
It's
a
gonna
couple
take over
thousand
my garden.
humans left. You can move to the other side of the country, and you'd still like you would never run into each other except for like hundreds of years later, maybe.
I don't see why you don't understand that. It's not even
It
about
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
distance. It's about
Yes, it's about
shit. We don't.
Yeah, we don't want apes to
We don't want them getting
overtake
stronger
humanity,
because-
but
yeah.
like we're not in a
Yes.
position where we can defend ourselves because humanity's so weak right now. But here,
But they
I
were.
can go to the other side of the country and be fine and be away from the apes because the apes
They clearly were able to defend themselves
Yeah.
and were able to.
no, because the apes won most of the battles, with the one exception.
What battles?
Like even
There
in
were
the
no battles.
in the Dawn of Planet of the Apes won. They like charged the city and won, and like somehow beat out tanks and
That
machine
group,
guns.
yes.
Yes,
they
that
beat
one
that
group. Not they had no like missiles and like shit like that.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
then
We're
even at
never
the
gonna
start
be able to
of the
take over
war,
that
and
stronghold.
even at the start of the war of the Planet of the Apes, it said they'd been fighting for 2 years. The war has gone on for 2 years. Like, how have humans with all of the guns and the tanks and the weapons they had not able to
Because the
wipe
monkeys
out?
were hiding.
Yeah.
They were hiding.
They didn't
They're
know where
hiding.
they were.
They were looking for them, and as soon as they found them, what happened?
Humans got killed.
They literally got captured, all of them.
The humans got killed. And that first group of humans got killed. Remember,
The
because they
humans
let them
got killed
go?
because other humans killed them.
No, because the humans.
Sometimes I wonder
Remember
if you
the
watch
apes
movies.
let the humans go at the beginning. Remember, and most of their group got killed, and then let the few
Yeah,
of them
because
left.
Caesar was trying to push for peace and was being unsuccessful. He
I'm
was
just saying
being
that
too
they
easy
they
on
were
the humans.
able to defeat the humans pretty
Okay.
easily.
I can't.
like 30 dudes in the woods against a fortified position. Yes, Joe. That one instant.
Yeah, but they have
Uh,
spears, and the humans had guns and grenade launchers and shit.
And okay. So
no, it's
Yeah.
pointless.
No, you're pointless. See how I flipped it?
I said it's pointless. I don't understand now why you're making personal attacks.
wow. But yeah, it was a fine movie.
I found an article. I read an article recently, and I wanted to discuss it with you guys about. Well, actually, before I even talk about this, Joe, was there anything that you had? That you said there was some stuff you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I wanted to talk because Roman called me before the show tonight, and I haven't talked to Roman in a while now. I'm trying to remember when
Roman-
it was.
Roman has been on vacation for what seems like 2 months, and it was over in Europe, and it seemed like that him and his girlfriend were just off gallivanting forever.
He said it was
and then
only
I
10
called him.
days, but it
Yeah,
seemed longer.
he said he was gone for like a week, but I swear that he's been everywhere and just on vacation constantly. I thought he was going to propose, but that didn't happen. But yeah, so he just called you out of the blue?
He called me out of the blue, and we talked for, I don't know, half hour or so, and he mentioned like how I'm always unhappy and how he's always happy, and then I was like, well, why do you think that is? And he's like,
now, when he called you, did he like straight out of the gate just say, I know how unhappy you are?
no, he had done one of those like, are you seeing anybody? And I was like, no, nothing's really changed. I haven't done anything.
So he was checking up on you. He was
Yeah.
like, Joe, have you got a girlfriend yet?
Yeah.
Did he do that just to tell you about something?
No, because he didn't tell me anything about that I didn't already know about his relationship. He hasn't proposed. They moved in together.
But did he bring that stuff up, or did you ask about it?
I asked about his Greece trip, and that
Okay.
was about it. Because he started getting into like how he's always happy and how I'm unhappy, and I said, well, I don't really think. He's like, if you're masturbating and you're just about to come and you feel really good, are you happy then? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, like if I'm getting a blowjob, like I'm just really happy right then. And I'm like, but there's a difference. Like that's physical pleasure. It's happiness is more of an emotional thing. And he's like, yeah, but like, sometimes I'll just see a squirrel outside, and then I'm just like, oh, that squirrel's so cute, and it just makes me happy. And I'm like,
That's what Roman said.
So
yeah, that was
he's a
one of his
golden retriever.
examples.
he really is a dog. Like if there's anybody that resembles a dog, it is Roman.
Yeah, and I just like, granted, I'm not always happy. Obviously, like I have my own issues
How did that
going
subject come up?
on. I don't know. He asked something like, "Are you happy?" And I was like,
Was he like worried about you?
I
Was
don't
he
know.
calling it as like a wellness check?
I don't know. Maybe I hadn't talked to him in a long time.
He
But
knew
then
about
said,
Linkin Park guy killing himself, so he wanted to make sure that you didn't also.
I guess. But then he said I needed to find my happies during the day, and I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Just count out 100 happies during the day, things that make you happy." And he's like, for instance, like
fuck?
if things are going bad for you, like find something that's good in it. Like he's like, "I'm in traffic right now," so then I was like, "But now I get to talk to Joe for 30 minutes." So like, if he told me to start counting my happies during
This
the day.
is such a Roman conversation. Just like, oh, I have to find my happies in the day.
Yeah.
Like he's such a fucking idiot.
You should be like,
What the f-
well, I was enjoying this TV, but now I have to talk to Roman for 30 minutes. Just fucking ruin my day.
Yeah, and he's like, well, let's just start counting those out, and then you'll be a happier person. I'm like, well, I don't really think about, like, I don't ask myself constantly, like, oh, am I happy? Does this make me happy? Like, if I'm happy, I'll feel happy, and if I'm not, I don't feel happy, and I don't check in on it every so often. But I guess he checks in on it constantly, and it made me think, like,
That sounds more depressed than anything else.
yeah, like, did he read this in a self-help book, or is he just literally, like you said, a golden retriever?
Oh, he is a golden retriever. He
It sounds from him if he said count your happies.
He did. That was his term, count your happies. See if you can get to 100 happies during the day.
He should write a book about that. Called
I mean,
Count
it
Your
honestly, when somebody projects that sort of thing, it makes them sound more depressed than anybody else. To me,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Oh, Roman definitely struggles with like some sort of depression, or like he struggles with his own issues that he's thinking about how many happies
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he has to.
it made me think, like, if if happiness is constantly on his mind, like you said, is he ever really happy? Because
Yeah.
something like seeing a cute squirrel shouldn't, I don't know. What is he, like, at a Disney movie? Like, is he going to start singing and then he's happy?
I'm curious what constitutes a cute squirrel.
That was his example.
Like,
Like, he sees a cute squirrel, like, eating a nut.
But compare a cute squirrel to a not cute squirrel. Like, what
I have no
defines the cuteness
I didn't
of a
even
squirrel?
get into that. But I don't know. I'm not going to start counting my happies. I have happy days and I have unhappy days, so I'll just continue existing.
I hate fucking squirrels. They're pests. They keep trying to get into my house.
Do you have a lot of happy days though?
Well, no. I mean, obviously, I'm not, like, I wouldn't call myself, like, a happy person. But I mean, I don't.
Don't you find that concerning? Like,
Not really.
If
Are
somebody
you
said,
happy
"Are you a
every
happy
single
individual?"
day of your life?
I'm not happy, but I wouldn't even say that it's for an entire day. Like, there's not a day that goes by where I'm completely not happy. Like, there's things that make me happy during the day. There's things that make me not happy during the day.
Well, I will
but
say there are
overall, I
fewer
would say
items
that
that make me happy during the day. Like, overall, there are some days that obviously nothing ever really happens, and so then my mood is unchanged. And this actually leads me along to another topic that he was mentioning.
This from the guy that just won't go to a therapist.
How often would you say you call people like out of the blue?
Me?
Yeah, or anybody.
What do you consider people like?
I mean, your friends. Like
I
you
never
just felt
call
like-
anyone, even my friends. I'd rather
Yeah.
text.
Because I really don't call anybody. I wait for people to call me basically if they need something or if they just want to talk. And he was saying he calls like at minimum he calls 3 people a day.
I don't do it a lot. I don't call people a lot, but I do call certain people out of the blue. Like I've been known to keep in touch with. Sometimes I'll be hanging out and I'll call our cousins. Joe, I call you from time to time out of the blue.
Sure.
On like Facebook chat or like Snapchat or something. But yeah, I call people not 3 people a day, but I do randomly will be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna call this person and see how things are going.
I would say I call 2 people every 3 weeks. So it kind of is in that range. It could be 2 people in one day, and then like not again for 2.5 weeks. But I'd say I make 2 spontaneous calls every 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would say I'm closer to Dave's range, but I don't actively call people for the most part. Like
Who was the last person that you spontaneously called?
I can't even remember.
So are you saying would it even be as close to Dave, or would it be
in the sense
worse
that like
than
no,
Dave?
I got phone calls. I mean, like in that case, like I don't get a lot of phone calls either. Like Matt, you called me out of the blue on Sunday, but like before that, it might have been a week or 2 before somebody had actually called me that wasn't a telemarketer. So like I don't get a lot of phone calls either. Like, and I don't make them personally because one, like not a lot's going on with me. So like, what am I really gonna chat with somebody about? Like, hey, just shooting the shit. Like,
sometimes you just
you
chat.
also-
Like,
yeah,
I just like to talk about things. I mean,
Right. You also, I mean, and I'm counting solely phone calls, not like
yeah.
Skype calls
and stuff like that, because I consider that like different.
yeah, I don't know. Like I consider a call on my phone. So like,
Right.
I will call Joe on my phone, but using like a Facebook app.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a phone call. It's not it's not something that you expect to be 2 or 3 hours and you're playing a video game sometimes
Right.
as well, or just, I mean, even if you don't, you're just talking, but it's like a prolonged thing where you're just kind of like more of a hanging out thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like I don't typically do that for I don't know, maybe a couple reasons, but like when Roman said that he calls at least 3 people a day, it made me think like, am I not calling enough people or is he doing too much?
Neither.
No, nobody calls anyone anymore. Like it's,
There's neither.
Yeah, because like if I'm gonna chat with sometimes it'll just be a text. I'll send a couple
yeah,
texts.
you just talk.
but
with,
like I don't.
with Matt and Dave. You say like, "Oh, did you see this movie or show
Yeah,
last night?"
I'll
That's the
put it-
same thing as calling someone. It's just the modern equivalent.
All right. Well, then I don't feel as bad. It's just because I'll text people occasionally, but
Why
I
would
won't.
you feel bad regardless? Like,
Well, I don't know
if-
because like sometimes I feel like I'm just bothering people with a phone call. Maybe that's, like
No,
Why do you
no,
have to
I-
compare
no,
to why?
yeah.
But here's the problem. is that
because
you're
like I don't have a
comparing
ton
your-
to talk about. Like I have one thing that I
Okay.
want to talk about. Let's say it was Planet of the Apes. Like we had just seen it.
But
Like,
no,
that's
you're
irrelevant.
missing the point here.
The point is that you're comparing your behavior to everybody else's, thinking
Yeah.
that you're doing something wrong.
Why not
when
just be like,
it
oh,
doesn't
this is how
matter.
this is how I do it, and all right, I don't feel bad because this is how I want to do it, whether it be through call or Snapchat or whatever it might be, text, Skype. This is how I take care of my communication. But why do you have to compare it to, okay, well, man, Roman told me this, so am I doing it wrong?
Well, no, in the sense that like Roman doesn't really text people as much. Like, he calls people. Like, he really will go out his way to
Okay.
talk to them. And I was thinking,
He doesn't, by the way. Like, he's lying. He started calling people today, and you were the third person that he called.
I don't know. He said
So,
that he calls a lot of people during the day, so I don't know. He
No,
like gets bored at
he
some
doesn't.
points, and he knows when to call people. Like, if he knows you're driving home, Matt, that's when he'll call you.
If he told you that, he has never called me when I'm driving home. I called him on Sunday and caught up after not speaking to him in months.
That's what he told me, is that he will call you when you're driving home from work because he knows you're doing nothing else.
He's a liar. He's not telling the truth. I have not spoke to Roman in months, literal months, and I called him because he went camping this weekend in New Hampshire, and the cabin that he stayed at was this really cool looking cabin, and I said, man, I wonder where he got that connection to that cabin, because I would like to take the kids there to go camping.
Sure.
So I called him. We spoke for 15 minutes, and that was it.
Is it camping if you stay in a cabin?
I think
No,
you're
it
just
was just like,
cabining.
yeah, it is like a cabin. It's a cool place. It looked really neat. It's almost kind of like a treehouse cabin type of thing. They have them in New Hampshire, kind of spread out. It's not that cheap, but the cabin itself is pretty cool looking, and you get a lot of great hiking. But anyway,
I guess my question was more: do you consider a phone call to be something different than texting? In the sense
Well, I mean,
that,
it
like,
is.
well, yes, but like,
yeah,
would you?
I mean, that okay. If you were going to ask me is there a difference between texting and phone calling, then the obvious answer is yes.
Well, yes, but like, is your first impulse to text your friends, "Hey, what's up? We haven't talked in a little bit," or is your first impulse to call them?
You realize that your motive behind everything that you've said up to this point has changed. Oh, well, I just wondered if I was normal because this
Yeah,
is
I
what
wanna know
Roman
if
does.
this
This is
is-
what now I want to see if there's a difference between calling and
Right.
texting.
That's you and Roman together is a dangerous pair where
What
he has
is-
he
I'm
has to
curious
affirm
because
everything
he's-
that he does with
he's
somebody else.
But
filling
I
my
don't
head with
understand
ideas,
what
and
your
I'm
motivation
wondering.
is.
I'm just wondering if this is a normal thing to do. I don't know, because I
It's
said,
not
I don't
normal to tell somebody that you should call people more. It's not
because I
like,
don't.
that's
I
what's
don't
not
really
normal.
call people in general. I wait for people to call me, and like
have
everybody knows
no
that I'm
idea.
available, and I always feel like people are out doing something, and I'm just
Well,
interrupting.
do you have a
is it
desire
weird
to
that
call
he
anyone?
called you-
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm sitting here doing nothing, and maybe I'd go like, I'll call my sister or something and catch up, but I know she's out doing something, so I won't. And I'm sitting
Is
here.
it weird that Roman called you and asked you and informed you about how many happies he gets in a day? Yes, that's
Yes.
fucking weird. The rest of this conversation, I am so confused by. Like, I don't know where we're at and how we got to the point where we're at now, because the motive behind it all has changed so much.
I don't know. Well, he asked me something about like who I was calling or something. I'm like, I don't call anybody. Like, who do you call? And he's just like, oh, I call at least 3 people a day. So I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
I was
he
curious.
was just trying to affirm something to you. It's like, look at what I do. Like, I'm showing off that I'm sociable
Yeah, and
or
I
some
said- yeah,
bullshit
and I-
because he knows you're not.
I said I hadn't heard from him in a while.
I'm happy, not
Yeah.
like you, who's unhappy.
I hadn't heard from him in a while, and he's like, well, you could have called me and we could and seen what was up. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you could also call me.
Basically, what he was telling you is he was essentially telling you the same thing as like, oh, I bought this new coffee pot. It's awesome. You should really get this coffee pot. That's basically what he was telling you.
Yeah, I mean, more along the lines of, like, I bought hey, Joe, how are you brewing coffee these days? Are you brewing it through a normal pot? Or you got a Keurig? What you got?
French
Because
press.
I've got
Yeah,
this weird
exactly.
test tube.
Well,
thing,
he did try to convince me to buy a condo because Cassie had bought one, and he thinks it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
exactly.
How long did you guys talk?
Like 35 minutes. He was just
Where
like,
were
where are you
you?
going to live in 30 years? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm just renting right now. And he's just like, well, if you owned a place, you wouldn't pay anything. I'm like, that's not true either.
Is he trying to get like a commission? What the fuck is
I
that?
have no idea. He was.
Where is he gonna live in 30 years? Because when this bitch dumps him,
I don't know. He was trying to convince me that I'm throwing my money away by renting. And I'm like, that's that's a dumb fallacy, right?
Yeah, that is dumb.
But he said that I should be buying a condo if I don't already have a big
a
retirement
condo,
savings.
I feel like is almost one of the worst investments.
Yeah. I'm like,
that you can make.
I'm like, I know condo fees are expensive, like on top of the mortgage payment. Like, I don't want to have something that's, too expensive. Like,
Yeah, you buy like a small piece of property with a small house on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can live there for a while, but then it's something that you can easily rent out.
Of course.
If you decide to do that, if you're going to buy. Otherwise, yes, rent away, because any damages. Why am I in this conversation?
Yeah, exactly.
seriously.
Exactly. I didn't want to fall into it. It's just, that's another. We talked for a while, and that's what was up. So.
I hate Roman.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
He also had no idea that we were doing the show. So.
He's really stupid. Like, when I talked to him, I told him, he asked me, he's like, am I led to believe via Facebook that you have a dog now? And I said, yeah, I got a dog. He's like, why didn't you call me and tell me you had a dog? I said, A, I didn't think that I had to call you and tell you that I had a dog, and B, you've been on vacation for 2 months. He's like, I've been on vacation for a week. I said, there's no way that's possible, because I've seen pictures for 2 months of vacation. And he's like, I don't believe you. You don't have a dog. And then he wanted me to go home and take a picture with the dog holding 4 fingers in front of a television.
What? That will prove that you have a dog?
That will prove that I have a dog.
And you could put your shoe on your head too.
Yeah. Are you like, why do I even care that you believe me or not?
Why would I lie to you that I have a dog?
Like, are you... This is some elaborate ruse
really
that you have
frustrating.
against Roman?
That is very frustrating.
Roman is an idiot. He really is not smart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up, shall we?
Oh, didn't you want to talk about your article?
Yeah, maybe next week. I mean, it's 10:30 now.
All right. Well, I'll save it
Adam,
for next
final
week.
thoughts?
I was pretty astounded. Did you guys know the new X-Men film was filming in Millis the past couple days?
Yeah, I heard. Well, I didn't know it was in Millis. I heard it was around here, though.
It's like 10 minutes from my house.
Oh.
I drove by the set, and there was like a whole shit ton going on, and I looked up what was filming when I got home. I was like, holy shit, X-Men, the New Mutants?
New Mutants, yeah. Because we talked about it at our 48, too, about how they were filming in, like, Medfield or something. So
Yeah, they're filming at the Medfield State Hospital, too.
Yeah.
Oh, so the same place as Shutter Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, like, Professor X puts together a new team, New Mutants, and it's a bunch of mutants that I wasn't really familiar with. But I think, like, Macy Williams from Game of Thrones is in it.
Yeah, she's one of the big stars. I don't remember who's
Do you
playing
guys like
who,
the
but
Game of Thrones?
the new episode?
I thought it was good. I felt like it was a little slow, but from all the reports I read, it really picks up in episode 2.
I don't know why you said it's slow, and a lot of people said that, but I don't understand that. It's the first episode of a season.
Yeah, and
It's supposed to
I
be
understood
slow.
why it would be slow. I just felt like it opened with that real powerful scene of,
Well, I mean,
killing on the phrase.
I
and
could have
then-
done without a 5-minute montage of Sam cleaning chamber pots, and
Yeah.
Daenerys walking up to Dragonstone didn't need to take 10 minutes.
I did almost feel like a Pink Floyd song was about to start playing when they were doing that montage.
Yeah, like Money.
Yeah. It felt like that.
Yeah.
But
actually, somebody edited it to that.
Adam
Did
was
they?
right, though,
Yeah.
that the Daenerys scene, like, there's no dialogue. Like, it's literally like...
There doesn't need to be.
I know that it doesn't need to be. I'm just saying that's why it was slow. Like, it's just...
But it wasn't slow. It was
Is
just,
it-
had weight to the scene.
This is where
like, I don't
Joe
understand.
asked, is it normal for like not to be any dialogue? And,
No, I understand why it didn't have dialogue. I get that. I'm just saying it just contributed to the fact that the episode felt slow. Like, because they
But
had to
it
check
didn't
in
feel
with
slow
like
because of
100
that. Like,
characters.
I felt it went
I
on a
didn't
little
think
long.
I didn't think that it felt slow. I thought it did move along. It just definitely was.
It establishes.
Yeah, it was like,
Well, it
hey,
does.
remember where all these people were? Well, this is where they
Oh,
are.
of course.
And yeah, you got that really cool opening scene. But yeah, it was definitely establishing and a reminder of like, oh, this is what's happening. And
Dave, were you angry over Ed Sheeran?
No, I don't understand why anybody would care about that at all. He sang a little song
Dave,
and said a line.
Can I tell you something about this right now?
Sure.
Joe told me last night.
What?
We were playing the old Destiny 2 last night, the beta, and he said that Ed Sheeran in the show took him, Shannon, and Brian out of the show.
I watched it with Shannon and Brian.
Because all of a sudden they found themselves talking about Ed Sheeran instead of what? No, you said
we were.
All of a sudden hold on. You said all of a sudden we found ourselves talking about Ed Sheeran instead of watching the Game of Thrones.
Well, that sounds more like your fault than him existing.
I said that to you, Matt, and I just confirmed it as well. Yes, we started talking about it because it was like, is that Ed Sheeran? Oh, that's Ed Sheeran, and he's singing, and then it pulls you out of the episode a little bit. I wasn't angry over it. I wasn't angry over it.
No, that's insane. It doesn't. That's you just getting sidetracked by something dumb. Like,
okay. Well, it obviously distracts you from the episode when you're like, oh, that's
in the
Ed
first
Sheeran.
episode. In the first episode, when Cersei, like, you first see her, are you like, oh my god, she was in 300?
No, because I said, oh my god, she's in Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles instead.
Why were people upset about Ed Sheeran? I didn't.
Because
people
it was
were,
like stunt casting or something.
Oh,
because they got.
I didn't really.
They don't typically do that kind of stuff, like with getting.
They do though. Like
yes, they do.
They've done it before.
Yeah, but they have them hide in the background as extras. Here, he was front and center, and he was singing a song.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene or that episode of Star Trek DS9 where Iggy Pop was in the background instead of like the main actor.
But he wasn't singing a song. Episode. He was the main actor.
Who cares
of the episode.
if he sang a song?
Because that's all he does. He has no lines of dialogue except to sing a song.
Yes, he's a minstrel
Dave,
or something.
I don't care.
A soldier.
This is just what people were saying.
But you said it took you out of the episode.
Yes, because Shannon and Brian and I started talking about it because I don't care, but they were like, "Is that Ed Sheeran?" Oh, I think that is Ed Sheeran. Like, and then the episode
That's the end of the conversation.
Talked about it.
That's literally the end of the conversation. Anything beyond that is your own fault.
Okay,
I thought Arya was going to kill him.
Out. Yeah, I was kind of hoping she would kill him. Just the whole group.
But then they were nice.
It was funny because when we were watching the episode, and I don't really know who Ed Sheeran is. I know that he is a musical artist. I know that he's popular. If you played an Ed Sheeran song for me and said, this is Ed Sheeran, I would have to take you at your word because I don't really know. And that's not me trying to be like the too cool guy. I don't know who Ed Sheeran is. Mm-hmm. I just have never really followed his music.
I was the same until I started my job because it's on the radio all the time. Sure.
Yeah. I don't listen to pop radio. I don't listen to radio at all. I only listen to music that I have picked out on Spotify. I only listen to music that might be in like a podcast I'm listening to or whatever. I don't listen to any radio at all. Like I'm not exposed to it. So when we were watching the episode, Rochelle did tell me, she said, "Hey, that's Ed Sheeran." And she showed me a picture and I was like, okay. And I kind of messed with her a little bit. And then when I went to work the next day, there were actually people who were annoyed that he was in the episode. Like they were vocal about it. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's really strange. Like why does this, I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he wasn't a bad actor in the scene. It wasn't terrible. It was fine for what was going on.
I don't understand what any problems could have possibly been with it.
I thought it was
now
a
that
cute
we have
scene.
to have this conversation of, wow, what did you think of Ed Sheeran in it? It's like, I honestly didn't think anything other than, well, okay.
He's a guy who sang a song for 30 seconds in an episode of Game of Thrones. That's what I thought.
It didn't take me out of the episode. It didn't do anything. So,
I did love the opening scene where Arya was disguised as Walder Frey, poisoning all
that was
his men.
amazing.
Do you know
it was Arya
right away?
fun.
I knew immediately because she killed him in the last episode.
Yeah, what? Yeah. Who else would it have been?
Joe was thrown off.
I did like having him back because
knew who it was. I'm just saying. Some people didn't. If you read the reactions to the episode,
I loved having him,
Some people are morons.
having that guy back from that episode because I love his accent. Where are they? Trimming their cunt hairs.
In the chat, they're back on Linkin Park discussion, and Uncle Hall is saying that he doesn't listen to pop at all. I'm sorry, I don't understand older pop. Linkin Park wasn't really a pop band.
No,
they
were rap rock.
In the end, did like peak out on the pop charts. It was a huge song.
It was rap rock,
but they rap rock, new metal. They fell into that hole.
That song that Joe was playing earlier, I hadn't heard it before, but yeah, I bet honestly, if you took the lyrics out of it, it sounded very much like Justin Bieber's last album.
Oh, maybe I picked that song out. That's one of my favorite Linkin Park songs. All of Hybrid Theory I really enjoyed.
Whatever the one that Joe is playing for the example of pop.
Oh, that one.
That one.
Oh,
yeah.
I can't go back to that conversation.
I'm just saying. If you took the lyrics out of it, it did sound very much like a Justin Bieber song from his last album.
Any modern day pop song, it definitely falls into that formula. Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand why anybody was contesting that. That's crazy to me.
No, you don't understand. Modern day pop is country.
Yeah, I don't. What does that mean? Is this like Imagine Dragons? I can't.
You watch the music video.
Exactly.
It's like them playing Mortal Kombat basketball.
He's saying goodbye. You think that was foreshadowing?
No, seriously. If somebody played that song, I would think it's another Imagine Dragons song.
They don't have rapping with Imagine Dragons.
I don't fucking know. I don't listen to anything that they.
But that's the thing. Is like I've heard Imagine Dragons before, and if they released a song that had rapping in it, this is what I would imagine it would sound like, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
But they haven't had any before, so wouldn't that be weird?
No. Yeah,
but see, Linkin Park has had rappers before, and they made music with. Yeah, but like Imagine Dragons hasn't. So wouldn't that be weird if all of a sudden they came out and there was a rapper in their song?
No, because the rest of the music sounds like Imagine Dragons.
Yes, the point of this is that the music.
Do you think they're gonna find a sound-alike singer to tour, Dave?
No.
They're just not gonna tour this album?
Probably not, no. At least they shouldn't. Because it's garbage.
You didn't like that song? I thought you just said you liked it.
No. No, I didn't.
Are you excited about anything right now, Dave?
It's a good question.
What do you mean? Like anything like
just anything
media related?
Like just anything you're looking forward to or gives you a big smile?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Europe for 3 weeks in 2 months.
Is this your final thought?
No.
I just wanted to know.
I was just answering a question.
Dave's just counting his
Oh,
happies.
yeah, Adams was about X-Men, right?
Yeah. X-Men filming in Millis.
I did want to ask, where in Millis was it? I didn't get to ask that.
The old Millis Click It.
Oh, like, the Cliquo Grill?
It's like a little up the street and across the street from the bowling alley.
Yeah.
That open area.
Yeah. Cool. Final thought.
I have a question for you. If you don't have a final.
Yeah, that's fine. Do that.
My question for you is, obviously you're not a fan of the updated Dota 2.
Right.
We've got the International coming up, and
right.
A lot of publicity about it and how it's breaking records again for the prize pool. But are you still watching Draskell? Are you still funding him? I
am still subscribed to him with my Amazon Prime subscription, but I haven't watched any of his streams or anything since a little bit before the major change patch happened.
Yeah. So you're all out then.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
even if you're not watching Draskell, that's
if he played another game, maybe I'd watch him do it. But I haven't watched anything he's done. At the most, when I subscribe to him, like to hit, because with the Amazon Prime, we need to redo it every month. It's not automatic. And then I say something stupid and wait for him to read it, and then I close it.
No.
That's it.
If you guys don't know who Draskell is, he's a Dota 2 streamer, plus he's like an announcer for some of the game, commentator for the games and stuff. So I was just curious where you stood there.
It's just not fun.
I was watching him the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just dropped in. I was like, man, I wonder if Dave is still watching the old Draskell.
Nah, the only streams that I've been watching are people playing PUBG just to like learn a little bit about getting better at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really it. And I don't really know if I'm going to be able to get much better at it until I get a better computer, just because a lot of it is seeing people first, and my computer's fine, but it's a pretty taxing game at certain points where my computer is like a few years old now,
Yeah.
so I can't really match there. But yeah.
Joe?
The other day when I was home during the day, I watched the entire Castlevania series on Netflix, and I enjoyed it. I didn't realize it was only 4 episodes. I thought they kind of left off like right as the story is beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like season ended.
That is exactly what happened. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were like really ramping up, and then they just were like, "Oh, all right, well, see you next year, maybe."
Yeah, and I just thought it was silly. Like, why did they approve this like really, really short like chapter of a story as the entire season? And literally, why did they only approve 4 episodes? But other than that,
it is really strange
Yeah.
because, like, if you think about it from a storytelling aspect, like, all right, well, we'll see if this generates enough buzz to keep people invested. But it's like, how do you keep people invested in 4 half-hour episodes that
Yeah.
they want to like keep watching it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems really strange that they didn't have a complete story arc.
yeah,
That would get people really excited. And I feel like if they did like 8 episodes or 10 episodes and it was a full, complete, you know, beginning to end story, that there would be more hype about it. And I've seen people talk about it, but not nearly. It's such a blip. It's just a 4 episode.
yeah. and
Nothing.
really, nothing happened. There was a lot of talk for 2 episodes, and like the most action happened in the last episode. But it had some really, really good dialogue and really good visuals, and then all of a sudden you feel like the story's just getting started, and then it's just over.
I hate anime. I really do. There's not much anime that I really get into. I can't stand the like the whimpering and the whining. And this, I thought the art looked really good. I thought the graphics and everything were great, and the dialogue, like you said, it really did flow well. I enjoyed it. I didn't find myself.
Yeah, like it has all these like priests that are just like using the church to basically like kill whoever they want because they have the ultimate power, and then all of a sudden like the bad like devil guys come in, and all of a sudden they just like.
Is it about vampires?
It's about vampires. Like the main villain's Dracula, and
I never played the games.
I haven't played a lot of the games either, but it was a good start
I think
to the story. So
Played Castlevania on like NES.
yeah, that was the only one.
first
I played like the first one on NES, and that's like literally the only thing.
Because of Castlevania, I knew how to spell Pennsylvania on my spelling test in like 2nd grade.
Nice.
And you knew Alucard was Dracula backwards?
Hmm.
And Alucard makes an appearance in this, like at the very end. But like, it's like I said, it's basically chapter 1 of a story, where they're just setting up the heroes, and you learn the heroes' names, and then all of a sudden it's just like, all right, see you next year, maybe. Like I don't even know if it got renewed.
But
for
they
season 2.
approved it. They did, and I'm sure they'll do a bigger 2nd season. It's just such an odd. I don't know why they decided this was the best way.
Yeah,
of handling it.
I don't either.
Like if you're not a fan of anime and you don't really watch anime, I do recommend it. It's gruesome and violent and fun. It is a fun show, but I just why 4 episodes?
That is strange.
I was ready to binge a whole season, and got to see episode 4, and I just see in the description as it's playing in the season finale. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it sneaks up on you. Yeah, Rochelle and I watched it in an afternoon, and then when we got to the finale, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
My final thought for the evening is I was talking with Mike Moore from Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks before the show tonight. And as I was talking to him, I kind of recalled that I'd watched a couple movies recently. Neighbors 2 and Chips.
You saw Neighbors 2?
And I did. I watched Neighbors 2.
And then you watched,
and I watched
Chips?
And Chips. And
I distinctly recall you making fun of me for watching Chips. But then you watched Chips.
Terrible movie. No, and I'm saying like just from what you told me about Chips is what I watched of Chips. Like we watched part of Chips because you. What did we want? What did I try to get you to watch and you couldn't watch that? But Chips was a better fit for you.
It wasn't a better
Cabin
fit
in
for
the
me.
Woods.
I don't.
Cabin in the Woods. We started to watch. You didn't know what was happening because you couldn't follow the story. But then we put Chips on and then you were enthralled.
I wasn't enthralled.
I remember now. Yeah,
I
no, you were
was
enthralled
not
because
enthralled.
Dave, listen to this. I put Cabin in the Woods on
Mm-hmm.
so that we could watch that movie, and literally they just explained a key plot point to the film. He looked at me and said, "Wait, does this?" He asked me a question about that key plot point, and I said, "This is insane." It just explained it. I turned it off. I put Chips on. Okay, you ready for this? I couldn't make it through Chips. I had to go to bed. I went to bed.
It was like almost one at that
Hold
point.
on.
I didn't watch it either.
This motherfucker wakes up in the morning and puts Chips on while I'm asleep and finishes Chips.
This was at 8 a.m. though, and I was
This
waiting for
cocksucker
Matt to
wakes
get
up in the morning.
and I'm like, well, what am I gonna watch? I'm like, I might as well finish
Puts
Chips.
Chips
Literally
on.
anything. Literally anything, Joe.
And it wasn't. If Matt knew anything about me, he knows that I'm not a big horror movie fan. So putting Cabin in the Woods on was not the best choice for me.
But
But
Chips,
you are a
that's
big,
why I said
terrible
Chips.
movie fan.
Yeah, I got to.
Not even like
I didn't even like
the bad
Chips. It was
good.
terrible.
Yeah, but you had to finish it when you woke up in the morning.
And when
You
it's on
woke up-
TBS
Didn't
next
make
year, he'll watch it
sense.
there too.
The movie
Yeah, but
didn't
you
make
woke up in the
sense.
morning, and the first thing that you did was put
It was
Chips
not
on.
the first thing I did. I watched some Office episodes, and then I put the Chips on.
Insane. Anyway,
But
both
Chips
movies, Neighbors 2 and Chips, had a lot of jokes about eating ass.
Yes.
They joked about eating ass, almost to the point where you're like, "Wow, is eating ass?"
Well, that's
Is
popular
that
right now.
It's in
they
the common.
ask it in Chips. They say, "Is it standard now?" And he said, "Yeah, it's totally standard. Everybody's doing it."
It always has been.
Well, but I mean, anything ass has been kind of taboo. I was kind of surprised, and this is what started the conversation with Mike earlier. Is Kingsman, the Kingsman movie?
Mhm.
There's a big thing at the end where he's going to save the girl, and the girl's like, "If you save me, I'll let you put it in my butt."
And then you get to see your butthole for a half a second.
And it's like, wow, like this
Wait.
is. I mean,
Where was this in the trailer?
No, that's the first movie,
he was busy watching Chips again.
right?
I didn't. I watched the Kingsman when I was high, so I don't remember a lot from it.
Typical.
It was the last time I got high by myself because I got really paranoid after it and had a panic attack.
He was afraid that a woman would show him his butthole.
Mm-hmm.
Show him her butthole.
I woke up
so he goes,
and
"Ugh,
had a panic attack from it, so I stopped.
women have buttholes. Ooh. I only like men with buttholes.
Ugh, buttholes are gross.
I like that you're just saying that Joe finally realized, like, oh my god, women have assholes. What?
So I thought it was kind of weird, and then we're getting to a point now where it's just, I think everybody, when you go into, it's been so standard, right? The foreplay is like, all right, a little bit of making out, a little bit of oral, banging, right? Like that's kind of the very standard
It's boilerplate.
sex routine, right? Is the routine gonna become making out, oral, ass eating?
Well, that's always been part of it. Like at least it always. I mean, it
Not
should
really
be.
though. Like I understand your where you're coming from, but it has definitely not in the normal routine. It's more like
I wouldn't say that it's not in the normal routine. I'd say it's not in the normal conversation.
yes,
Because
that's what I'm saying. Like
right, people are afraid to admit certain things, and they try to put on this persona that's bullshit, like butts are gay or something. And
Absolutely.
that was the standard for a long time. That's true.
But
There was sodomy laws.
now, when they become to like where they're making jokes about it in movies, where this loosely. I mean, is it going to become, like I said, that
Loosely.
very standard, very, it's going to become the normal. All right, well, then we're going to make out. Then we get to the 69, and then while we're 69, and then we switch off to ass eating positions, and then we get to bang.
See, Anchor saying that right there is why it's stupid, because that's never been a funny line or anything. It's just one of those like weird things in our culture for no reason. You never go ass to mouth. Like that's. Well, I've never understood why that's funny or anything, because it's just like, what the hell's the difference? Who cares?
Sure, that was like a joke. Like, and I get that. I'm just saying. Like,
right, but some people take that as like a real thing where they're actually afraid of like butts.
If they're getting more comfortable with it to where it's like in modern day movies, like
that was the thing long before Clerks 2. I'm sorry.
Well, most people don't want to taste.
Sorry, Anchor. Yeah, but you don't. That's the thing. And
but you could.
Like, it's very like. Yeah, obviously you can, but it's not a thing. It's not that simple. It's not like, oh man, like this person has absolutely zero. Nobody's eating Joe's ass where he has no controls of his bowels.
I have plenty of control of my bowels. Thank you very much. I have almost too much control of my bowels.
I don't know what that means.
I'm in a lot of control.
No.
What does that mean? I have too much.
Yeah. Clerks 2 did not popularize it either. It was a popular saying long before Clerks 2.
So then it begs me to ask, like, are you excited about that? Are you excited about, like, and then what's the next thing? Like, what's the next thing to get popular?
I think the next thing that's going to be more openly noticed, I mean, because it's already becoming a thing anyway, but, I mean, pubes. Honestly, like, women
they're going to
pubes,
make a comeback?
Well, no, I mean, they already have. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's already is a popular thing. It already is there. It's just that certain folk tend to think it's still like this taboo thing because they're 10 years behind everybody else. Mm-hmm. And think it's like this not popular thing when really it is, and try to put on that weird face.
I don't mind a little bush. Little bush is always, I don't like it like you like it.
I mean, I like it all kinds of ways.
I know. I'm not a big fan of like the...
I like looking for bush pictures sometimes. The thing I hate online is how, like, a lot of the times you look for bush and the girls always have armpit hair too. That's gross.
I don't see why though, and that's another thing that that's part of the same thing. Armpit hair. I mean, like, that's something that nobody is going to care about other than putting on the face of of caring about it in 5 years, because it's already a thing and you don't even notice it.
I don't like armpit.
Okay, you can. It's fine to not like it or not prefer
I shave
it.
my armpit.
That's fine, but
Dave,
the point
did
is
you
that
like
you
the
really
female
don't even
apes
notice
in the movie? Were you like turned on by the female apes that have hair everywhere?
Did they have their asses free of hair?
They didn't have genitalia. Like when Caesar stood up, he didn't have an ape penis.
But was his butt hairless?
I didn't notice that, but I mean, he's not a baboon either.
I've actually always been a big fan of women with nipple hair.
Yeah.
Why?
Why not?
But it's never like. It's always like one long gross hair.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Just grow it out and beat it. Put beads on it.
I just add a little bit of Rogaine to that one hair. It's like, get bigger, baby.
I wish that was how Rogaine worked.
Wouldn't it be great? Just fertilizing that one hair. All right, I think we're done here, right? Are we done here?
Well, I was going to ask because I didn't get to start listening until like, I don't know, 10, 15 past, and you guys were talking about Linkin Park. Did you guys mention John McCain's brain cancer?
No.
It's a shame.
Why?
He's got brain cancer.
Yeah, it's brain cancer.
That's probably why he was acting so weird in that hearing a couple of weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but also he is just old, so it could just be typical old behavior as well.
I don't know that it was necessary.
I mean, it could be, but I mean, it doesn't matter either way.
I'm like snarky old man.
Now you're saying that you have to question his entire behavior for like the last couple of years.
No,
least?
but
no.
What I'm saying,
he was acting extremely odd at that hearing.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he was just saying weird things. I mean, and he was like saying the wrong words and stuff. But I mean, who cares? Really, doesn't. It's not like that really makes a difference. The problem that I have with that is that he still has a vote in the Senate. Regardless, what I was thinking about it is like he's 80, right?
I thought he was older.
No, he's 80. So is it even like I would you, even though he's like a prominent person and whatever, would you even bother trying to start
Eating
treatment?
his asshole?
Well, because that treatment, like even with that, the expectancy is what, 14 months? I think I read
No,
It's
I
under
think
for
2
that
years.
specific type of cancer.
I think
Would you
this
even
is-
bother?
I think this is a death sentence for him. I think he'll be dead within.
Well,
a
I
few
mean, it is
months.
a death sentence anyway. But what I'm saying is that
Yeah, very few
No.
people
with treatment,
survive this kind of brain cancer, and those who
He's
do,
especially
he's
not
not
at his
surviving
age.
anyway.
yeah, generally much younger.
The point is that like, given his prominent position, do you start the treatment because he's this prominent figure and he has like a family, whatever, or do you just not because you're so old? And honestly, what's the difference between 3 months and 14 months at that point?
I
No,
feel like
I-
he being the person he is going to fight for every day that he can get. So,
But it would be so much worse. I mean,
Yeah.
but he's
I would. It's too bad. It's not like if we could have a society that looks that like assisted suicide is.
yeah, but you
frowned
don't know
upon.
that he wants that. He might want to live as long as he can.
we're talking
mean,
about this hypothetically.
Yes,
Joe.
hypothetical, and it's if you were in this position or whatever. Like, no, it's not worth it. It's there's no, definitely not going through those treatments and chemo and whatever to because you get really sick.
Right.
I would honestly just be like, all right, listen, I'm okay right now. Let me do a couple things. Let me kind of tie up these loose ends and meet with my family, and then just put the gas mask on, and that's it.
Well, Mayor Menino fought his cancer for months, and he decided to stop because his quality of life, like going through chemo,
Yeah,
and stuff,
that's-
He
was
also
so
wasn't
bad.
as old.
And
He wasn't as old, and his cancer wasn't the same either.
But I mean,
Yeah.
once he stopped his treatment, he died within a couple weeks.
Right. But I mean,
I would-
those months before that weren't great either. I mean, if you had 2 months that were okay and died, or 14 months that are all terrible,
Right.
You know?
That's what he's saying. It's like the quality of life was so
Right.
bad.
But when you're already 80, I mean, what the hell?
I don't know what
Why?
McCain will do, but I mean, I would think he would want to just enjoy his last whatever time he has left.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just
Yeah.
going to continue with the chemo, and he's going to go for the treatment.
I mean, he might because of
He might, but
religion
he
and all
shouldn't.
that.
But if he does, then at the same time, that's an argument like
Maybe
about the
he's like
healthcare
Roman,
debate,
and
which
he's
is funny
found
why
his
he missed the
100
vote.
happies, and he wants to continue being happy in gloomy situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. How do you feel that John McCain is the reason that Uncle Hall is a Republican?
I mean, that's silly. Like, what in
Is he old
particular-
enough to have any political stances?
Yeah, like, what in particular, like, was great about John McCain that you were just like, wow, I'm a Republican now? Like, what did
Well,
he
he
do?
can't lift his hands high enough, so whenever he goes for a high five, he can reach.
Yeah, but like, is there a specific stance that's unique to John McCain that makes you a Republican? Like, wouldn't it a lot of the stances be like common to a lot of
John
Republican
McCain
senators?
has voted the party line almost forever.
He's
so,
a war
yeah.
hero.
Yes, but being a war hero doesn't necessarily make you a
Wario.
Republican.
Being Super Wario.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make you a Republican. You can be a war hero.
Yeah, I
and-
know John Kerry was a soldier. You
Yeah.
mean he, or whatever he was in the military? I forget.
Yeah,
what
he was also in Ace Ventura.
Was he?
John Kerry.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Where-
also in When Nature Calls and Cable Guy.
He also married the heir to the
That's
Heinz
Jim
ketchup
Carrey,
fortune.
but not John Kerry.
I wanted to see what he was all about, and my young end was molded by his ideas. Oh, to see my young mind.
Yeah, Anchor's more on the dot. He liked McCain French fries and then became a Republican.
Guys, we are the Lotus Cast. TheLotusCast.com is where you can catch us every Thursday night. Thank you for joining us. Boy, did we have fun. We talked about suicide, and we talked about other stuff, and the Planet of the Apes. And it's just been so great. Thank you so much for joining us. StrangeLabel.com is where you can catch all the great shows. Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks, Burnicast on Monday nights, Not Safe for Water Cooler. Shannon is back. Chris Break Show's gone. No longer on Wednesday nights. So much great stuff there. Thank you for listening. StrangeLabel.com, TheLotusCast.com, at TheLotusCast on Twitter. Until next week, Dave,
I just read great song.
I mean, it is a great song.
No, it's not.
I know you don't like it, but it's a great song.
I mean, I thought this was
Great
one of their
album.
better songs. Yeah.
No.
anything to do with paranoid? Do you think at a whirlwind?
I couldn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, you're cutting out, Matt.
I gotta get a new cable here. This thing's kind of fucking up on me. Guys, until next week. You fuck yourselves.
The matter is I can't add up to what you can, but everybody has a face that they hold inside. Face that awakes when I close my eyes. Face that watches every time they lie. Face that laughs every time they fall. So you know that when it's time to sink or swim, that the face inside is watching you too, right inside your skin.
It's like I'm paranoid looking over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like I can't stop what I'm hearing within. It's like the face inside is right beneath the skin. It's like I'm paranoid looking over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like I can't stop what I'm hearing within. It's like the face inside is right beneath my skin. The face inside is right beneath the skin. The face inside is right beneath the skin. The face inside is right beneath the skin.
I feel the light betray me.